The first chapter is about what is momentum. Let me explain this with an analogy. Now, suppose if you are on a skateboard and if you stop moving your leg, the momentum that is carried by the skateboard will still carry you forward in the same direction for some more distance. Because even though you don't push your leg, because you are moving in a particular direction, the moving object carries a momentum, just like while driving a car. When you take your leg off the pedal, because the car is already moving, it carries some amount of momentum, and this momentum will carry forward the car in some more distance, even though if you don't apply the accelerator. So this is what is called as momentum. So, in physics, momentum is defined as the quantity of motion possessed by an object. You might have also learned about these laws called Newton's laws. A body in motion continues in motion unless acted upon by an external force, and an object at rest will remain at rest, and an object in motion will remain in motion at a constant velocity unless it is acted upon by an external force. So, the main takeaway from this chapter is that momentum is a concept of moving objects. Like when they move in a certain direction, they have some more quantity of motion that is left in them, that carries forward them in the same direction for some more distance. So, and we will look at how stock prices show this concept of momentum in them. Now, in this section, we will look at three examples to show how momentum has been observed in the various directions. Like a stock price can move either in the upward direction, or it can move in the downward direction, or without momentum, it can be moving in the sideways direction. So, on this slide, we are looking at Apple's stock price movement on a monthly time frame. So we can see clearly here that the price of Apple's stock price has been steadily moving up in the same direction, though intermediary, like, or between some intervals of time, has been the stock price has moved down, but the overall momentum is in the upward direction. So this is an example of a stock price showing momentum in the upward direction. Now let us look at the second example of stock price showing momentum in the downward direction. Now on the screen you are looking at PayPal's stock price on the monthly time frame. You can see here that in the recent years, the stock price has been having a steady momentum in the downward direction, which is shown by the blue arrow, like that is showing that the stock price movement of PayPal has a strong momentum in the downward direction. But few years prior to that, the PayPal stock price had a strong momentum in the upward direction, and now we are observing in the last few years that it's showing momentum in the downward direction. This is a third example of a momentum, that the lack of momentum in a stock price. So here we can see that we are looking at Microsoft's stock price between the years 1999 to 2017. So between these so many years, the stock price hasn't moved anywhere. Like the stock price has had no momentum over these such a long period of time, more than a decade. It hasn't moved anywhere. Now this is a classic example of how when we fall in love with certain stocks or certain companies, we tend to keep holding on them even though they don't have momentum. So this would actually result in what is called as an opportunity cost. So money that was invested in Microsoft could have been invested in certain other momentum stocks that were showing, like during the same period, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, all these companies were having a strong momentum in the upward direction. But because when we are locked in a stock that doesn't have any momentum, we are losing money because of a concept called as opportunity cost. So now in this chapter we have looked at three examples. So we have looked at Apple's stock price movement showing a strong price movement in the strong momentum in the upward direction. Then we looked at PayPal's stock price momentum in the downward direction, and we looked at Microsoft's stock price showing absolutely no momentum for a number of years.